All right. All right. So welcome, guys, everyone. If you don't know who I am, I'm Leanne Reed. I do the convention for ATHS along with other events and various other whatever needs to happen around the office. This week, I get to be playing hostess to our board, so that's always an exciting thing. A couple of housekeeping things real quick for this meeting. It's going to be a little more interactive. You're not going to just get to sit there. You actually have to participate. So down at the bottom of your screen, if you're on a computer, you might want to open your chat window because I'm going to want to have some feedback through that. And then also, if you know how to raise your hand, which is actually under reactions.
Where's chat? Oh, here.
Those are the two things we'll use a lot going through tonight. All right. Both of them should be down at the bottom of your screen. All right. With that being said, I am going
Okay, now I'm in.
You got it? All right, Scott Spears in. I'm going to share my screen. Should be something that you have seen quite often. So yeah, I'm sure you've seen this a lot. Hopefully a lot of you have seen it a lot. It is.
I've got a lot of them.
Hopefully some of you have a lot of them. Yes, absolutely. This is something, this was just something I wanted to start with when we talk about flyers and posters and sorts of those type of collateral materials, as we call them. Just starting with this. So I want everyone to tell me, there's 3 things you need on a poster. 3 main things. Somebody raise their hand and tell me what one of those is.
I don't know, how do you raise your hand?
Melissa Heeman.
Your dates.
Okay. Scott Spear, what's another one?
Trucks.
Oh, okay. Not particularly, but okay. Lacey/Tony. And take yourself off mute first.
I don't see where you raise your hand. So.
There. All right, Steve, or Stephen Snelson.
Location.
Location. It's a good one. All right, Tony, Lacey, try again.
Location.
All right, location, location, location. Is that what they say? So we've got dates and location and trucks.
Name of organization.
Name of organization.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah. Missing something kind of key.
Something that catches your eye.
Eye catching. Okay.
What it's actually for.
Thank you. Or what it's called. What is the name of your event? You need the name of your event. You need to know when it is, and you need to know where it is. So what it is, when it is, and where it is. Those are the 3 key things you need on a poster or any promotional material. The other stuff is kind of...
That would stand to reason.
Yeah, exactly. The other stuff is kind of extra. Not that it's not needed, not that you don't want it, but those are the 3 things you don't want to forget. What, when, and where. So this tells us this one, sorry, it's off to my left. So if I look over there, this tells us what it is, when it is, and where it is. And then at the very bottom, where you can get more information. Then that's about it. That's all we got. It's a simple, clean, easy, this is what you got. Granted, it does rely on some technology in order for it to gain more information. So sometimes that is something you can rely on, and sometimes that is something you cannot rely on. You just kind of have to know your audience. Is your audience going to be one that can go to a website for more information, or are they not? If they can, take advantage of that. And if they can't, then we have some tricks and tools that you can use for that as well. All right. So I'm going to And I apologize if these are any of your posters. I did not pull them out for any specific reason besides they were just examples I found and found quickly. They were not ones I, contemplated on for hours. So don't take offense, please, if they're yours. But we're just going to go through some stuff. Okay. Tell me what your first thought. I want to know what is the first thing, and this is one thing I want you to put in the chat. So open up your little chat window and I want you to type to me the very first thing you see. Where does your eye go first? I don't want you to examine this. I just want you to tell me the very first thing you see. Ready? All right, here we go. What's the first thing you see?
Steam engine.
Right, type it in the chat window. The steam engine.
I know where the chat window is. So where's the chat window? Oh, I guess we have. Oh, we're here. Okay, chat. Okay, I guess we can type it there.
Okay. All right, so we're getting a little bit, the very first thing it looks like everybody's seeing pretty steadily is the
Reno.
engine. Only you, Tony. Too many bold words. Thanks, Barbara. Red, yes, definitely something you would see first. The first thing that you see is red and green. What's the first thing you think of when you see this?
Christmas.
Christmas. Yeah.
It's the first thing to think of.
Yeah, definitely Christmas. Yep.
It's a little cluttered for me.
It is a little cluttered.
It's small, hard to read.
Hard to read. Yeah, some of it's hard to read.
Too much information.
It does have a lot of information on it. And like I said, maybe that is something that you need because that's the only way you're going to get that information out there. That is a valid reason.
It looks like there's a lot of clubs that participate in this show. So it's not just ATHS. It's all the other organizations that are involved.
Yeah. And like I said, I did not pull these out as a specific chapter. They were just ones that kind of caught my eye that we could talk about and had a lot of points that we could discuss. So like I said, nothing's specific to anybody. But the first thing is yes, it's very two color. That's what we call a two color poster. Back in the day, you would get charged when you printed for each color you would print on. So if you did a one color, which usually was black, or if you did two color, something similar to this, three color, and then four color would be full color. Because you only have four colors that make up all your colors. So back in the day, yes, you would get charged mostly for how many colors you use because they would have to put those colors on the press. These days, not so much. We have digital presses, so everything is like you would be printing off a computer. So you don't get charged like that anymore. So you can use all of the colors of the rainbow or not. You don't feel like you're limited. You can talk to the people who print your stuff. If you're doing it through like a Staples or something like that, they're printing it off just like you probably would on a computer, maybe with a little bit better printer, but not much different, technology wise. If you're doing big things, sometimes we do things on a press, then it'd be different. That would be something though, like Wheels of Time is printed on, but you're not going to be doing something like that. Yes, Mr. Martin.
I just wanted to throw out there in case no one was, if anyone else was not aware of this, if you're getting it printed at Staples, Office Depot, somewhere like that, and you use the ATHS discount, printing is just about half price.
Good point. Another member benefit.
That's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yep. Don't forget about using those member benefits. Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So back to kind of the design of this. One of the things you could probably do is use a different color. So, you know, stick with your theme of, if your theme of your show is red and green, absolutely make sure that's in there. Not a problem. But maybe the names down below of everyone, maybe those could be just a little smaller and maybe in black. So it kind of puts them towards the background again. The other thing you don't see on this poster is what we call white space. So let's go back to Reno, though it's not white, but there's areas for your eye to rest. So you're not constantly being bombarded or trying to read something or look at something. There's just kind of quiet space. See, there's a lot of quiet space in here with the mountain. There's some quiet space down here. It's just, it feels more relaxing. So your brain's not trying to process all of this information at one time. When we go back to here, you know, it just, there's a lot. Somebody said there's a lot of stuff on there. There is a lot of stuff on here and there's a lot to process. So maybe, you know, we want to feature these and we want this stuff, but you know, some of this can be smaller or it's still readable, but it doesn't need to be quite as big. The other thing you can do is maybe take some of this information, you know, what we're featuring and who's going to be there, and put it on a backside if it's going to be printed. So you have two sides. You don't have to just print on one side of a piece of paper. You can print on both sides. So keep that in mind. Maybe we put some additional information on the back. If this is being used on, say, a Facebook page, maybe you have, again, two different pictures instead of one, so that you break up all of that information. You don't want to get more than two, really, a front and back, or two pieces or two images, but you want to get the idea across without overwhelming someone. The other thing that happens when something like this pops up a lot of times is people won't read it because there is so much information. You just skip over it and move on because your brain just
too busy.
It is, you're just, and especially in today's world where, you know, we're used to seeing something and it registers within a half a second. That's about all you get. Think of it of you're driving down the road and you see a billboard. How long do you have to really process that billboard? Not very long. So that's really all the information you want on something like this, unless you are handing it to someone specifically for them to read. That if you're putting it up on Facebook, if you're putting it out there just as a quick informational, you want to keep it simple. Keep it simple. Do the KISS. Keep it simple. We won't say the last one. Keep it simple. All right. Let's go to the next one. What's this one? This is an interesting way to do things as well.
Don't like the filled in circles.
I couldn't hear whoever said that. I couldn't hear.
Yeah, I don't like the filled in circles.
You don't like the filled in circles. Yeah. That's a, you know, yeah. That happens. The O's.
Yeah, it is.
What was that?
I was just asking, what are we looking for on this one?
Just kind of give me your impressions.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's being sponsored by a truck club, right? This is something that's in conjunction with a big rig show.
Yes.
Big rig show is not the predominant feature of this particular poster.
Right.
All right.
There's no truck on it.
There's no truck, but it's not a truck show.
No.
Is that what they're promoting?
It's a tournament.
Yeah, right. It's a cornhole tournament.
Yep. Tournament put on by the Southwest Truck Parts.
Yeah, now it's part of the Hot and Cold Big Rig Truck Show, but it's not the truck show. So they're not promoting the truck show. They're promoting the cornhole tournament at the truck show. So, you know, think of things like that. If you have something special like that, if you have a tractor pull, you can promote the truck depot separate from the truck show. If that's something you're selling tickets to, or something you're, it's a big draw of your event. It doesn't all have to be, you don't have to put all the information on one piece of paper. You can specify and make specific flyers for specific things. I'm sure they have one. I didn't go back and look at the hot and cold big rig truck show. I'm sure has a poster just for that. This is just one I found for the cornhole tournament. And again, you'll see they do have a lot of information on there. And maybe for them, they needed all that information. They don't have a website or anything to, to push them to give them more information, or a Facebook page. Don't forget, you can use Facebook events. That's something we can talk about as well outside of this, but you can use those to put information about your event on as well.
It does look like they have a Facebook page because it's the Ad Hoc Cold Truck Show for updates. Right.
They do have a Facebook page, so maybe they should have put some of the information there, or they just wanted all of that information out there. But the one thing they did do is they made it in different colors. So they were highlighting different things. It also gives your eye a little bit something else to focus on instead of all one color, and it doesn't bleed together. Versus this one, where all of that green bleeds together. And so your eye just doesn't want to read any of it.
Yeah, it's way too busy.
Right. See, we're on this one, at least we know, okay, if you look at it at a glance, entry fees of 40, okay, we have to pre-reg, it's a tournament, we got a live band. And then they put some of the other stuff that, is important, but not as important in that black. So it kind of fades to the background. One thing I might have done is maybe I would have made the date and time a little bit bigger or a little more prominent, just so people know. But for the most part, it's a pretty decent thing. All right. Sorry, Mark Fasalo. And again, these were ones I literally just found. I wasn't specifying anything. This one, though, has quite a bit of white space. So it's not as busy. Your eye can rest a little bit. Logos are nice and big. It's done by the Beltway Company. It's ATHS Mason-Dixon chapter. You know when it is and where it is. You got the address. And then what I like about this is, okay, they don't have a website. They don't have a Facebook page. But they just put if you need more information, you have a phone number to call. And maybe that's what you do. And it doesn't have to be a phone number that you have to answer. If I remember right, Google, you can actually get a Google phone number. You'll have to look it up. It's been a while since I've done it. But you can get
a recording
and put a recording on there that gives more information. So it's not something you have to answer all the time. Maybe check the voicemail on it if somebody really has another question. But it can just be a recording with more information.
I guess in my mind, if you have a number, if I'm personally trying to get in touch with somebody and have a call number, I don't want to leave a message unless I absolutely have to, because you never know if they're really going to call you back. If you can get somebody to answer,
right,
it's more supportive of the people.
Again, and that again is a personal preference. I'm just saying you don't have to. You don't,
right.
Well, it all makes sense, but if you think about it, I agree with her 100%. In today's world, we've got so much automation that people are trying to speak to somebody, and you've got to listen to recordings. It's punch this, then punch this, and it gets ridiculous. I spent 15 minutes on the phone this morning trying to get a one person at a corporation. It was because there was 10 prompts you had to listen to for each section, and went through 11 of them. This is really ridiculous, and you couldn't get a live person.
Right, and again, maybe you have two. They have two numbers here. So one is, for more information, a recording with more information, and you put that number. If you need to ask questions or have detailed information, you can call this number and talk to a person. You can Don't have to do one or the other. You can do both. They're not exclusive.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just like she was saying, just, commenting on that.
So, for me, I would really just want to call if I needed, to know when I can register or, directions or something like that. I'm just throwing stuff out off the top of my head.
Right. Good points.
Hey, Leanne.
Yes.
Thank you for pointing out, because I didn't realize Mel didn't put the Facebook page on there. You know what's going to happen tonight. He's going to get an email that it needs to be on there for this year.
We got Mel in trouble. Dang
it. No, that's actually thank you, because it needs to be on there.
The other thing, the other thing on this one that I would say, this free admission, maybe you could move it up here where it's free. Sponsored by Central Maryland International. If you could get a logo for them. Sponsors always like it if you can use their logo.
Logo is the top right-hand logo there.
Okay, so maybe it instead of Beltway companies up there, it's sponsored by, and then it has the logo.
I have one question.
So you can combine those two things.
I have a question. Where's Mason Dixon?
Exactly, that's another one. Barbara had that. What is the Mason Dixon ATHS if you don't already know?
You're right.
But again, I don't know what their audience was for this. That's why I said I just grabbed these. I don't know what an audience was. I didn't know, where it was going.
Well, at least one thing, we can have fun with all this.
Yeah, but it does have, 29th annual antique truck show, so it's an antique truck show or historical truck show. You know when it is, and you know where it is. So really, you've got a lot of the, things there. The one thing I want to kind of point out on this one, which is actually what drew my eye the first time, you can get Mel in trouble for this too, Mark, is this picture right here. Does anybody see anything kind of wonky with it?
Not big enough for me to see.
Let me see if I can get bigger.
Well, that's better.
It's a little pixelated, but
that's okay. It's bigger.
Yeah.
You may see something maybe a little not horrible, just a little off.
Doesn't look like it has the full picture. Looks like it's cut some of it off.
Cut some of it off, but we've cut this one off, and it will look
That's
okay.
True.
Because I squeezed it in.
Yeah, the wheels on the old stone quarry truck certainly not.
Not stone quarry.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. What I was referring to is it's squished. It's squished
this
way.
Exactly. It's completely out of proportion.
Yeah. So you want to be really, really, really careful. And at the end of this, when we stop talking about this, I'll show you a few tips and tricks and some of different ways. But you want to be very careful not to squish logos or squish pictures because they start to look funny. And then they look funny, and then that's what people are focused on instead of all the other information you want them to be focused on. They're focused on this weird looking picture. I had one. Bring it back to 100%. Where was that one? This one. You see this picture?
Yeah, that's just...
that one's not squished. That one's stretched.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
They were wanting to fill that space, but they just stretched the picture.
Some of those old trucks you want to stretch just to get in them.
Okay, it doesn't work that way. If you stretch the picture, the truck is still the same size. It just looks funny.
Yeah, it makes your legs feel better.
But again, this one is a great example, though. I mean, they used a nice background with the chrome, so it gives the idea of, a truck. Since they only have one picture, you don't have to use a ton of pictures. One picture is fine. No pictures is fine. You've got some white space. You've got a lot of information, emails, and all sorts of things. But you also, I like this one because it shows the use of different font sizes. Don't get too crazy with them though. But if you have 3 or 4 different font sizes, not fonts, 1 or 2 fonts, period, end of story, done, no more. But font
I'd imagine
sizes,
it gets a little too word if you get too many different fonts in there.
Yeah, exactly. It gets really busy looking and just it gets, yeah. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And if you're like ATHS, we actually, home office, we have very specific fonts that we use. We have 2 very specific fonts. So we have what's called a style sheet. We know which fonts we use, which fonts we, are required where. And so you can make that up for your chapter. It's called a style sheet. So you have what colors you want to use, what logos you want to use, what fonts. It just tells them all of the stuff that make your brand, that make you who you are. And if you want a sample of that, I'll be more than happy to send you ours. You can see what that is. But you got all sorts of information. And then, they had a disclaimer down here. Perfect. It's nice, tiny little, but it's on there.
That might be.
Now I'm going to show you a really fun one. I think you guys are going to like this one. Can you read that?
Wow.
No.
No.
So pictures are great to use. I'm not going to tell you not to use pictures. Pictures are great to use. Use them, please.
But they need to be used properly.
Exactly. Don't try and write over the top of them because it becomes really hard to read.
And you got multiple fonts in there also.
Yeah. See, this is a good example of a couple just too many different fonts. They make it a little
their
bit
logo.
Oh, that's a showing, right? So
yeah.
That's
not that it's not a great show. I'm sure it's a wonderful show. I'm sure Steve is an amazing guy. Down there in Holland, Texas is where they are. But just trying to read that over top of the pictures just makes it really difficult. And sometimes I would have just scrolled right past it because it was just,
the white on top of the silver is just, you lose that all.
Yeah, this whole white, you can't read it all.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
And that blue with the black
underneath
outline.
the other writing.
Yes, he uses a lot of outlining on these. And that was probably to get by with the pictures that are underneath it. It helps highlight it. So it doesn't bleed as much into the background.
And that black with the purple, blue, whatever you want to call it, really bleeds.
And then you got all the watermarks on the photos. The 3 individual watermarks.
Yep. So these are just some examples. And like I said, these are just examples of some things to think about when you're doing your poster. Here's one that was the reason I wanted this one, which I like a lot. This one's not a poster size, so it's not 8.5 by 11. If you're creating something for Facebook or if you're creating something for a website or a web page, it doesn't have to be 8.5 by 11. It can be a different size. In fact, most of the time they like it to be different sizes.
What state is this from?
Exactly. There are certain things.
What state it is.
We don't know what state it is.
My other question also is, are we allowed to use the ATHS logo on our posters?
Yes.
Paying for it?
Yes. Barbara was going to talk about that a little bit, but we ask that you do fill out a form that just for permission to use. So we can get you the correct logo. We ask you not to take it off of our website or copy it from other sources because it starts to look weird. One of the things and we also, we'll show you, how to use it, making sure it stays in proportion, those types of things, how small it can be, how small it can't be.
One of the questions that was just asked was, can you use it without paying? The answer is you don't pay for it.
No.
If you are using it to on a product that you will sell, then there is an arrangement we can make. But to promote the local chapter, a show, there is no charge.
Can we use it in our newsletters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You can use it in the newsletter.
Absolutely. We have a black and white version and we have a full color version.
Okay.
So we can get you either one of those.
All right.
And we don't want to be bossy about it. It's just we want to see how it's being used, so that if someone says, "Did you see that newsletter with the blue thing on it?" Well, we know which one they're talking about.
Okay. All right.
Just
Thank
so
you.
you guys know that's in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. That's George Kirkham's collection.
I just liked it because he has a nice use of, there's truck pictures on here, but there's some nice white space. You got information on here. Maybe could use a little different font sizes, but overall, good job. Got some logos, nice and crisp and clean, which is nice. I'm going to show you when it's not a truck show. And this is what I was kind of saying with, they've got two different fonts. I wouldn't count this as a font. This is their show name logo. So, and along with this, so this is their show name and it's kind of specific to each year. These are the logos they're using outside that go with their logo. So these are the fonts they're using that match their brand. And then they've got a picture that represents. So I liked this the way it was laid out. This was actually for our Facebook event page. But you've got your picture and then you've got your, what, when, and where. And that's it. And then, like I said, this was for a Facebook event page, so more information was below it on the Facebook event page.
Date would be nice.
The date's right here.
Which state?
Oh, which state? This is in Kansas City. So it's in Village West, Kansas City.
Missouri?
But it's somebody who didn't know where it was and saw it on Facebook and went, okay, Kansas City. How many Kansas cities are in the United States? Or is it Kansas City, Australia, or some other country?
They're like I said, this was actually for the very specific use of a Facebook event page. So this was like the header, and then it had all the information below it.
Yeah. It's either Missouri or Kansas.
Exactly.
This one is Kansas.
and it made it very specific. So if you were in the area and you knew where it was, like I said, they were only promoting to local. But yes, but good point. Valid point. Especially if you're promoting your event across state lines or into different multiple states, you'll definitely want to do that. All right. Any questions about those types of things? And I'm going to try and get into real quick some how-tos. Stop sharing that. Hi, everybody. We're back. Any questions, any comments? Anything like that? All right, quick show of hands. Raise your little hand or hands. How many of you use Microsoft Word to make your posters? Okay. How many of you use Microsoft, what is it called?
Publisher,
because I never use it. But how many use Publisher? It's a great program. I just haven't used it in a while. Anybody use Publisher? All right, what do you use?
Nothing, because I haven't started one yet.
I like it.
I use Illustrator.
Illustrator. Woo! Somebody's getting fancy. That's a heck of a program. You guys should be teaching this then. PowerPoint?
We do truck renderings. We don't really, it's not really the same deal.
Like if you're using Illustrator, huh? All right. Type Styler. I haven't heard of that one. Use Excel. All right, Jesse, we need to have some conversations here. You're using Excel for your program, for your posters.
Excel and PowerPoint go well together. Those are old format to me.
I would almost rather you use Word. Well, I'm going to open up Word here real quick because a lot of things you're going to do in Microsoft Word translate to PowerPoint and Publisher. There's a few little more things you can do in Publisher than Word, but so I'm just going to do ATHS logo because I was working with them earlier. All right. And I can make it nice and big. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. All right. So this is Microsoft Word. And this is a logo. If you don't know how to put a picture in Microsoft Word, you go up here to Insert and Pictures, and then find where your pictures are. Usually they're on this device or online. There is a whole other training we can do on those types of things. So if you ask Barbara, we can do one on Word, we can do one on Excel, we can do one on PowerPoint. We can do one on all of them. This is also, there are also tutorials out there on the internet. You can do a YouTube University and learn lots of things. They will show you. Believe me, that's where I go half the time for things anyway. But just really quick, when we were discussing about the fact that the pictures got stretched or squished or wonky, what happens is you're sitting here and you're like, all right, I really need more space down here to write. So I need to make this smaller. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to squish it up here. Well, now my logo's squished. I'm like, now it looks funny. And it's weird. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So I put it back. So the thing to remember about Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, even Excel, yes, even Excel, or Publisher. When you are resizing a picture in any of the Microsoft products, always, 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 always drag from the corners. Corners, corners, corners only. Do not drag from the bottom, the top, or the sides. Corners. Because if you do that, it will always keep it proportional. So I don't have to worry about it getting squished or smooshed or stretched.
But not bad, I wouldn't.
Because I now see if I can do this and I go squeeze, woohoo. But if I do the little corner, I'm gonna make it smaller and bigger without it going weird. So that's a nice thing. If you get used to it, just always take it from the corners. Then you won't have any problems with that. It's with pictures, logos, anything like that. So that was just a little quick trick for you. If you didn't already know, a lot of you know those things because you've worked in them, but for those who didn't, I know this is kind of, you know, simple, basic stuff, but some of it I didn't know until, you know, you learn on the job, as they say.
Some of us aren't very techy.
What was that?
I say some of us aren't very techy.
And some of us aren't very techy. So hey, we were trying to. But did anybody have questions or want to know something more specific, or came in here going, well, this is what I wanted to learn and I haven't learned it yet?
For me, that's stuff I all pretty well knew.
All right. Is there something else you want to know?
No, but I had a couple things that I did want to add since we're talking about media, different things that we possibly do. A couple of ideas. since we're talking about places, location, trying to figure out where we could put some of our media, such as the Wheels of Time, ports of entry, any state where we go through, you always got the Welcome Center. I think that'd be a great place to have our Wheels of Time magazines and some flyers about what the ATHS is all about. One of the other things that I thought would be beneficial is perhaps teaching a course at the college level, night course or whatever, if somebody wanted to do it, write a simple curriculum and just teach the course on the trucks, the economy, just anything and everything that has to do with it and why this whole thing's put together.
All right, Tony, hope you're listening. All right. But yeah, the other thing that Scott kind of touched on, know your audience. Where is this piece that you're creating going? What is your purpose for it? Don't just throw the information on there and say, hey, I have a flyer. Well, that's great. What are you going to do with it? If you're going to give it to somebody who can't see very well and all of your fonts are, 8-point or smaller, might not be received very well. So I'm just throwing crazy things out there. The point is just,
no, it's good info.
Yeah. Know your audience, and what you do for one audience might not be what you do for somebody else. What you do to hand out at your local truck show might not be the same thing you do to hand out at the diner down the street to help promote the show. Those are two very different audiences. One knows what you're doing and one doesn't.
So one thing our chapter does, I know like Mark and I think Jerry have heard me talk about this, is Tony takes our chapter flyer and kind of I don't want to say hits the high points and puts it on a business card. And the one side has our flyer for our chapter show and the other side has information about the chapter, ATHS, and then a blank spot for you to write your name and phone number. And it works for our guys because when they're out on the road and stuff, they can just stick a couple in their wallet. Somebody starts talking to them and they can pull their wallet out, hand them a card. It's a lot easier for them to keep up with a business card to pass out than a flyer. And most people, him being one, myself too, I'm going to see a flyer, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to throw it away. A business card, there's probably a dozen business cards in our bathroom on the shelf where he takes them out of his billfold and sticks them on that shelf, and I just don't mess with them. I just leave them.
Good point, Lacey. That goes back to when I said it doesn't have to be 8.5 by 11. Maybe it's 3 by 5 card. Maybe it's a postcard size because that's more appropriate for what you're doing. Maybe in such a place, you need a 16 by 24 poster.
Thank you.
Maybe that's what you need. It doesn't have to be a one size fits all. So don't feel like you're pigeonholed. You're not. You can make what you need to make. And if you have questions, we're here to help. We'll answer. If we don't know the answer, then we'll find a source for you. See, Chris has got a pretty cool poster behind him.
That's our t-shirt art. We put that on a t-shirt every year.
Yeah. See, and what you would put on your t-shirts definitely not probably what you would put on, all your posters.
We actually do.
The same feel, but
we reverse the background to white though, so we don't have to print the black.
Right.
I have my daughter getting our business card that Lacey was just talking about. We pass those out all year, and all they have on them is a link to not a link, but our website, and it says Truck Show first Saturday of May. Visit the website for more information is all it says on it with the ATHS logo.
Chris, if you don't mind me asking, who did your setup, and is that airbrush or what? For your t-shirts?
You know what? We have a local company that designs that for us every year. they design it, and then they actually do the t-shirts also. I can get you more information on that. Then? Yeah, I don't have that information, but I can get it for you if you want.
Yes, sir. I would appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's something else you can do. I mean, but that just depends on the budget of your show. You know, if you want to hire somebody, or if you have somebody in your local chapter, or truthfully, a great place, local high school, local trade show, or trade community college, or college, they're trying to build their portfolios. So a lot of time they'll do it for next to nothing or free, just because they're trying to build what they call their portfolio for when they are out of school.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah. Like I know our high school that my kids attend, they have a career technical center, and one of them they do is graphic design. So you can approach them to help sometimes if you want to do something more than what you can do on Microsoft Word. And maybe they just design the basics like we do. We have, you know, for the ATHS one, we had the poster design, but then we take it apart and we use different pieces, or we crop out different things of it and use it for the postcard. Looks a little different than the poster. You know, we use bits and pieces of it for the registration brochure. So you can take it apart and use what you need where you need it. So don't feel like you have to use the whole thing every time. Like Lacey was saying, they have the business cards. All of their big poster stuff is not going to fit on a business card. So you have to just take bits and pieces of it and put it on there.
Well, Leanne, this year at Tri-State, we're going to try a QR code to link it, the poster to the flyer to the website.
Yep. Perfect.
Put more information on the website.
Yep. That's a perfect use. QR codes are awesome. It's exactly what they're there for.
Easy to generate too, aren't they?
Absolutely. They are super easy. If you don't know how, literally you can Google it and it'll take you to 800 of them.
We have one of the guys in the chapter, his son is trying to get into graphic stuff and he's doing it for us. So that's a good thing. We're going to have more information. You know, you can take the QR code and get more information. And we do a reminder card every year at the truck show with next year's dates on it. So,
there you go. That's a good one too.
One of our chapter members that donates space for us at the fire museum, so we have our meetings there whenever we hold them. And he also owns a graphics art business. So let's see if I can't get him interested in joining up on this committee and seeing what he can't do, or maybe help out for us all.
Yeah, I mean, use your resources. Reach out there. It doesn't have to be maybe one of your members. Maybe it's just a family member of one of your members, or
sure,
somebody they know, a good friend. But yeah, reach out there. Use your resources. Always. Just like you would if you were rebuilding a truck, right, Stephen?
There's somebody here that's helped me out a lot on some stuff. So
who builds trucks?
I have no idea.
Right.
I know you guys do it on that, so don't feel like you know you can't do it on other things. And you know, home office is one of those resources. So don't feel bad. Give us a call and say, hey, how do I do this? Or can you help me with that? Oh, and one last thing. Spell check. The last thing you want on your poster is a misspelled word.
Spell check, Oklahoman's best friend.
And
that's
not only spell check, but make sure you put that poster to as many people as you can. Circulate it around your chapter people, maybe take it to a chapter meeting, let everybody look at it. Get as many eyes on it as you possibly can before you print it.
There's only one bad thing about all that. the Oklahomans, the Okies and Texans, we got our own vernacular, so our spell check's different.
That's right. No, that's why I said take it to your local chapter. They can spell check it for you. Make sure you get the right, verbiage and the right spelling of, certain words.
My daughter's college, when they were doing graduation, they had a sign up. It said, "Send list your phones instead of silence." I was like, that's really bad from a college level.
But don't forget, spell check doesn't catch things that, are actually correctly spelled words, just not used correctly.
Right.
So that's why I said, get as many eyes on it as you can. Even we send around like the registration brochure, send it to the entire committee. We have as many eyes on it as you can get it. So
there's actually a spell check system out there. Maybe it's related to the phones. I don't know. But if you use a word that is misappropriated or misused in a paragraph or a sentence, it'll catch it. It'll highlight it.
Yeah, it's called Grammarly. We use it here at the office.
That's it. Yeah, Grammarly.
But Grammarly is one of those things, if you haven't heard of it, it's quite nice.
Yep.
Or quite annoying sometimes. Like, dang it, stop telling me I'm wrong.
I grew up spelling hooked on phonics, so it helps. I can really misspell some words.
Oh yeah, believe me, I get typing. It's like, all right. Any other questions, comments? All right.
All right. If there's no more questions, then let's go over the logo use form real quick. Won't take long at all. Let me share it so you guys can see it. And this form is located on the website in the leadership portal. So you can just go on there. Can you see it? Is it showing?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So you can just go on the website and download it off the leadership portal. It's in PDF form. And this is for, you need to fill out this form for merchandise you order for sale or printed materials like your flyers and that kind of thing. And
question.
Yep.
Is that an editable PDF format? Or does it
no, it's not, but I will see about getting it that way.
Good.
When we put it up there kind of quick and didn't think about doing being able to fill it in. You mean fillable? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. But I'll see about getting that version done on it. But anyway, the form pretty much explains itself, what's the manner in which you're using the logo. And if you're just doing a newsletter or a flyer, just put on there, chapter newsletter, monthly chapter newsletter, or bi-monthly, however you do it. Flyer for truck show and, the date of the show. And you don't need to do the next items unless it's t-shirts you're buying or that kind of thing. And then it's just, if you're buying the t-shirts, how many of them you're buying, what price per shirt, or no, I'm sorry, total purchase of the shirts. If you buy 100 shirts at $30 or $5 each, total it up. And then this is where you would need to send money to home office. And that's just 10% of the entire purchase price. And that is just to cover copyright fees that home office has to pay. So, and then you just say, what chapter you are and who's requesting this and whether you're the chapter president, the truck show chairman, whatever, and then just send it in to us. We'll approve it. Or like if it's a flyer or something, include a copy of the flyer. Well, you need to include a picture or a copy of whatever the item is. And then we'll either let you know if it's approved or suggested changes, that kind of thing. Simple, doesn't take any time at all. Turnaround time is pretty quick on it to get back to you to let you know if you have the go ahead or not. So
okay, I have a question.
Okay.
We, at our meeting on Sunday, this is the Nutmeg chapter, we learned that in order to get the ad for our truck show in Wheels of Time, we have to submit our poster first. Is that correct?
That is correct. And that's basically a follow-up to this form here. It kind of omits this form because we know you're using it for that purpose, and we know how you're using the logo on that form on your flyer. And we need that information to get the insurance for your show.
Okay, so in other words, the deadline for the March, April Wheels of Time has already passed. We were unaware that we had to provide a poster in order to be in Wheels of Time. So
when's your show?
It's in June.
Okay.
So we're only going to be in one magazine, one issue of Wheels of Time, because we were unaware of this. We just found out about this apparently.
Kathy, are you doing a paid ad, or are you just wanting listed in the calendar of events?
Just in the calendar of events.
Oh, okay. That's a little different.
Yeah. So the sounds like there's a bit of confusion over that. Really, what we're trying to do is get information so that we understand who's legally insured and who's not. Goes back to somebody ripped us off last year, got insurance and refused to use the ATHS logo and promote it in any way. So if you don't have your flyer ready, just let us know that and give us the information that you have got and keep us in touch. So it's not. We know we have to be flexible, and it's getting late, isn't it? Boom. Barbara, can you just double check in the morning? Because if you were trying to put an ad in the in Wheels of Time, the answer is no, it's too late. But just a section in the route guide, we may be able to help you with that. So just. Barbara will check that in the morning.
Right. We have never put the ATHS logo on our flyers before because we understood we couldn't unless we were paid money for it or whatever the deal is. So in other words, our flyers should have the ATHS logo on them.
Yes.
For us to have insurance. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And I can make sure I can get your show in the March, April issue of the Wheels of Time if you give me that information tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I just sent in some today.
We won't have the flyer tomorrow, but we have all the other information.
That's okay. I
give you the information.
Make the flyer, and then before we get your insurance, I would need that flyer.
Since your show's it's the old story of the objective here is the objective is to stop wrongdoers, not to block people that are trying to do the right thing. So if we can help you along, we will.
Okay, so we'll send you an email tomorrow or try to have our show chairman do it to let you know that the show is definitely a go. But our poster is not prepared yet because we were unaware of this until Sunday.
Yeah, as soon as you have the poster ready, just send it to us. You can email it to us. Okay. You can email it to me.
All right.
Another question is in the January, February issue of Wheels of Time, you have a couple ATHS shows listed. How could they be listed in there already if they need their financial report in for January 31st?
We will list them in the route guide. They will not have insurance unless we have their annual report.
I think the thing here is insurance and route guide are two separate entities.
Yes.
You don't have to have one. You don't have to have them at the same time. You can be listed in the route guide and then get your insurance. Right. They're two separate things.
Okay.
And again, it goes back to whilst you pick a valid point, and maybe we should check our form, we're not here to block people. Like, we're not going to stop someone from advertising a truck show because the deadline for the report's not up yet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're not going to be penalized because the deadline's not until next week. But But yeah, we're very willing to work with you, and we understand the process of putting a show together and having all of your information that you need. It's kind of hard to have it all at one time. But the sooner you can get all that information to us, the better.
Okay. Will do. Thank you.
Okay, so if we're doing a show with somebody else, they do the flyer for it's because it's for their company too. We need to have the logo on their flyer also then.
Are you a guest at their show, or are you doing it 50-50?
Yes.
Don't know.
You provide,
Mike, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, there's a couple of twists to that. Quite clearly, if you are sponsoring someone else's show, that's different to someone sponsoring your show. Yeah, so
okay,
we need a bit more info. But certainly ATHS is aware that we want our brand and our logo out there as much as we can. So we're not going to block general use of it. As I said, the main objective I put in the newsletter the other day, it's not that we've changed the rules, we're just reinforcing them. It's just to make sure that when it does go out, it's in the shape that it's supposed to be, rather than wonky or in yellow and brown or anything like that. So we're here to help. So whatever you need, any questions, ask Barbara. And the real tricky question comes up in insurance, in that insurance rates for truck shows more than doubled last year. So we don't want to throw anything that's legitimate at ATHS. We want to make sure you're fully professionally covered. But if you're not, we're not so happy about that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I almost got through the air without talking, didn't I?
Yeah, you did pretty good.
Hey, Barbara, could you identify what the insurance actually pays for when we have our when we get it for the shows?
I'm not even going to touch that one because I don't know all the details.
It is show liability insurance. It is not vehicle insurance. So if two trucks run into each other, that's their problem. But if someone falls and hurts themselves, you're covered. If someone comes up and punches you in the nose, you're covered. But it's about the show. It's not about the vehicles.
Okay, so it's more personal insurance for individuals versus a vehicle accident that would occur on a venue then.
Yes.
Right.
For liability insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
It also helps with like property damage at your venue.
Mm-hmm.
Those types of things.
So what happens if there is a truck accident or vehicular accident?
They got
their own personal
motor
insurance,
vehicle.
correct?
Right. That's why we require insurance on the trucks that come to the shows.
Right.
Interesting.
Would ATHS insurance cover if there was damage to the property, like if it rained and trucks got stuck and dug up, the mud and everything?
Yeah.
The ATHS insurance would cover the damage?
Yeah, but it would depend. Yeah, some of that depends on the contract you sign with the venue.
Yeah, that's not a hard and fast yes, but a general yes.
Yeah. It's also why we ask if you have bleachers at your show, because, that's a different rate because if someone falls off the bleachers, so different items like that.
Or if it's a hosted ATHS hosted show, or if it's just an event that you're attending and you'll have like a booth there, it's totally different rates.
Does the number of trucks matter?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a question the insurance company will ask us. Yes.
If it's like 12 or 20 or 200, like.
Yes. And if it's a 1-day show or 2 days or 3-day show, it's all questions they ask us. That's why they're all on that form.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the number of trucks, it's a range. You know, are you going to have 20 or 200? Not if you're going to have 12 or 16.
Right.
Well, okay. So, quick question then: if you post something and you intend for 100 to 200 trucks to show up, it's a multi-day event, and you ended up with 500 or 600 trucks, then what happens?
Good for you.
We'll move the national convention to your
That's when you go.
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell the insurance company. Let's put it that way.
Say what?
No, you can always go back and do an addendum. It's not.
If you need to, but if you're caught off guard, it's like any insurance. You're asked to estimate how many trucks are coming.
Right.
It's not a perfect science.
Like I always say, those are the kind of problems I love to have.
Yeah, no doubt. So would I.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Leanne, for teaching us how to put together flyers. I thought that was wonderful. This has been recorded and we will get it put up on the leadership portal. So if you have anyone in your chapter that you would like to share this with, just direct them there. Give us a couple of days to get it put up there. Other than that, everyone have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You too.
Be safe with the weather.
Yep.
You too. Yep. Be safe. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. So.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.